Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of Empowering Voices. We have Aisling with us today. Hello, Aisling. And I'm wearing the t-shirt Inner Magic. And starting from here, I'd like to ask Aisling how this motto can be applied to what she does. And she will, of course, tell us about her business.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on your show. Well, I think inner magic for me is about being able to believe in yourself and believe in what you've come here for in this life. And I think, especially this year in particular, there's so much happening in the outside world, we can lose sight of that connection. So I think, that understanding that you have so much strength within you and you have so much magic to be able to positively impact your life just is like a flame that kind of reminds you when you're kind of wavering and you are forgetting your magic. It's just that reminder to go, it's already within you, even if sometimes you don't feel it, but it's like it's always there. And actually to call that upon you is like that helps you to have that resilience and that power in yourself to create something from nothing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we as adults, so probably we have a bit of a resistance to call it magic, inner magic. We can give it whatever name we want, but it's definitely the power and the strength and the energy that we already have inside. And it's funny that as adults, we don't even think we have it, but we always did. We just forgot how to use it. So sometimes we need help from someone else, a bit more expert, to guide us. But it's there, definitely.
Absolutely. But I think that's something that I was kind of brought up with, that understanding of magic and, believing in the unseen world, from my mom. She was very much like that, and she was on that path herself of like spirituality and self-development. But it's like, then you kind of go out into the world and you think, is it possible to like live that as an adult? It kind of it gets kind of clouded out by the busyness of everything, and just like getting through the day and doing all the things. But it's like,
and we think that if we don't if we think like magic and spiritual, we can look weird, but it's there. And it's there for everyone. That's why I say, if you want to use another word, that you feel more comfortable with, it's fine. Call it energy or call it inner power instead of magic.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, inner power. But I think, from the path that I've been on, especially over the past 5 years and kind of going into more spiritual training and stuff like that and the understanding of things, but it's like, it's actually every human's birthright is to have their own magic and their own power. But we sometimes forget, especially if we've had trauma or we've had a lot of challenges that have kind of worn us down, like that sense of that power can diminish. But it's like being able to rekindle that and to find easy practices to do that. For me, like getting up and getting out with my dogs and getting out walking in nature, that rekindles that, like, yes, it's all around me, it's in nature. And when I can see it in nature, I can see the magic in nature, like turning from season to season. You think, well, it's just so beautifully magic, like how everything actually works in nature. And it's like we can see a lot of ourselves in nature. So it doesn't have to be all like, hocus pocus or that magic sense that people are kind of put off from, but it's actually just like we're returning to the simplicity of what we've come from, our own origins.
And feel surprised every day watching nature, mainly, of course, because it goes on her own, no matter what, right? So, and we should use the same for us, no matter what, and let our magic flow. And actually, I wanted you to tell us what you do with your business, because you create a bit of magic with that as well. So
well, I'll just give a tiny bit of a backstory as to how that happened. Well, I was on a path. I was studying as an occupational therapist, and I qualified, that was 10 years ago, in Manchester. but my own health broke down. So I ended up going to see a nutritionist, and she basically like guided me on this journey of, you know, helping to recover my health and helping to recover from burnout and depression and all these things. And it just opened my eyes to the power of like food as medicine and how you can heal naturally. And I think I always had that in me anyway, but that experience just catalyzed this whole new path. So I decided to retrain as a nutritionist, and I set up my business then back in 2016 as a holistic nutrition coach to guide and support other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I use nutrition as like the kind of the tool, but it's really about being able to, you know, help people to raise their energy and to rekindle with that inner magic and that inner power, so that they can create what they want to create, whatever is the thing that they want, you know, whether that's in their own business or in their own health. But it really is about, I call myself like a midwife, that I help like midwife that person's journey to get them, you know, it's like oftentimes people are drawn to me because I think it's not just nutrition, you know, it's holistic. Yeah. And I use many, many different tools that I've learned along the way, because, you know, we're not just physical bodies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have to consider many aspects of our life, and they are all interconnected. I mean, we cannot talk about food without talking on, I mean, the repercussion on the business, for example. Because if you feel low energy, you will have a terrible time at focusing and be productive, for example. So it's always the balance of all the aspects of our life. And Absolutely. What you do is exactly that. I mean, be the guide, the midwife of this balance among all the aspects. And of course, the one where you give a big guidance is the food part.
The food, yeah. But the food has a huge ripple effect, because I think as you start to connect back into like how foods make you feel, and like, does this food give me energy, or does this deplete me? Does this make me feel focused, or does this make me feel, you know, kind of scattered? Mm-hmm. And it's like, as you start to tune back into that, you start to that reconnective process that is helping you then for all aspects of your life, whether that's, am I setting healthy boundaries? Am I actually doing what I want to be doing? Mm-hmm. Am I creating enough space for myself, even if I'm doing work that I love? Am I actually creating space to take care of myself within that? And that's huge. Like there's different layers to that, you know, in terms of like emotional health and, you know, being able to navigate relationships and, you know, all the different things. So I love to dive into that because it's the path that I'm on myself personally. And so I love to share that in my practice, as, you know, my own practice is, you know, an extension then in my business. It's like, it's all integrated. There is obviously separation between, you know, I have downtime, but it's like, it's very much like what I have explored over the past decade. And I continue to learn, and I continue to share what I learn.
Yeah, of course. I mean, being there, done that. No, it's. I mean, for sure, you can be a better guide in this way because you already experience it.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, especially for, you know, I mainly work with women. I have worked with men as well, but mainly women. And the biggest thing is the overwhelm, and actually just simplifying things down. You know, and you know, I think a lot of people think that food has to be very complicated, but I feel the more you simplify it down.
Well, actually, I was part of one of your courses, and I was so surprised. I'm Italian, I like cooking and all this, but there's always at the back of the mind something elaborated to make it good, and it's not true. I mean, some of your recipes were, really? This is healthy, full of good nutrients, it gives you energy, and it's super tasty. So that's not true. That's only the processed food can be tasty. It is exactly the opposite, actually. More the processed it is, less energy you have afterwards. So
absolutely, yeah. But that's my whole thing is all about, like, being able to give people back the energy, because I think to be able to create what you want, you have to have energy, and so it's really about like going at that from all angles, whether that's your nutrition, whether that's like creating boundaries, creating time for rest, which I think is so massive, and I think is something that's missing from the culture of business, and it's something that, you know, there's many different leaders of this now, you know, I think people like Kate Northup, there's another lady, Kate Donovan, you know, that are basically saying, you know, to be successful, we have to be able to do our work in a way that doesn't burn us out, that we're not like working like machines.
Like machines, exactly.
You know, that we are human beings as well as human doings. We're not just like designed to be at high performance all the time, no matter how good your diet is, no matter how good your practices are. Like your body, like nature has rest embedded into the seasons for a reason.
Yeah.
And when we don't respond to that.
Yeah, and nature is definitely an example we have to look at all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because naturally, it lives and goes on and on and on. I mean, without never-ending process.
Yeah.
Actually, before starting the conversation, we were talking about sleeping. And we were raised with the idea that the very productive people sleep only 3 hours per night. I mean, it can be true for a month. And then you have a burnout and you are out of the game completely. Yeah. But if you want to be successful and in life and in business, sleep is the base. And you have to do anything to get there, definitely. Yeah. And of course, food helps a lot, exercise, meditation, journaling. I mean, we can...
Yeah, all the things.
Yeah.
And being able to also, I think, be in the mindset that like prioritizes rest and sleep as important as when you are productive. Is like when you properly rest and you properly allow yourself to charge properly. Yeah. Then you can go to your work. You know, it's like for you with your creative work. And for me, my business is, you know, it is creative work because I'm creating stuff out of nothing. And so you need a lot of energy for that. So if you're entering the day and you're like really depleted, you can do that short term, but long term, you just can't, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So my whole message is really to reconnect people, because it's like, you know, oftentimes I work with people and they say, oh, I have to work on this. And I'm like, it's not that you have to work on it. It's just that you have to reconnect that part of you that knows what you need and knows how to nurture you. Because it's like, it's not that I have to tell people this is what you have to do, X, Y, Z, you know, it's more I create the space for them to reconnect themselves and then for them to find their own answers, because obviously we're all very unique in our life situations.
Yeah. You guide, but you cannot give answers to everyone, because it would be impossible for you to know exactly everyone the way everyone is.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, is there a motto that you can apply to your private life, to your business, and then it's like your motivation every day?
Well, my motto is, and it's been there for a number of years now, and it's moving from fear to trust. And it's something that I don't get tired of saying, because, you know, the fears and the doubts and all that come as just part of the process of like my own personal life and my own professional life. You know, I'm always meeting new challenges. So moving from fear to trust is a motto that helps me to just breathe through whatever is showing up in my life and to orientate myself to move through the resistance to change, whether that's in my own self or the resistance to stretching myself outside my comfort zone in my business and doing the things, you know, like I'm in the process of editing my book and I'm finishing that, and also, you know, like putting myself out more visibly and, you know, just putting myself in different situations that my ego would go, oh, you're not ready for this, and you know, you need to learn more stuff before you can say this or whatever.
Yeah, of course, we are never ready, no?
Yeah, never ready. So moving from fear to trust has been my motto and a guiding philosophy, actually, that's helped to kind of steer my ship when I do start to kind of, you know, if I ever feel, oh my gosh, I am feeling like I can't do it, or oh, it's too hard what I'm doing, you know, because, you know, even personally, you know, we have this global pandemic happening and shutting down the countries and everything. And, you know, at the moment, my fiance is converting a camper van, and our idea is to go touring next year all over Europe.
Yeah, that's an amazing idea. So tell us of this.
Yeah, so like I met Richie back in 2013 and we started dating then early 2014. And he told me straight away, I'm going to be going to Europe, Germany with my music. And I was like, okay, you know, and I live in Ireland. So I was kind of thinking, how is this going to work? So when I started up my business, that was my whole motivation, was to get my practice online so I could actually work anywhere. So that eventually, once it's established, that I could go touring with Richie and be able to work and make a living, but also be able to have, you know, my life with Richie, who is a touring musician. So so he toured for 9 months all over Europe last year, and he had bought a very old van which died at the end of his tour. So he had to get a new van, so he's custom building it at the moment outside our house. And, you know, like that, we have no idea of what's going to be the outcome of next year. Like, will we be able to, you know, basically it's completely the unknown right now. I know there are some certain places that are, you know, being able to book, but people are kind of saying we can't tell yet. So it's kind of like all up in the air, it's all uncertain. So that kind of moving from fear to trust helps me to go, okay, this is where we are, we're just going to show up to this, we're going to do this step, and whatever is going to be the case next year, we'll work it out. And, you know, instead of kind of going, oh, I can't see the outcome, so there, I won't bother doing the steps now. It's actually about like, life is the unknown anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anything can happen. Now we have a pandemic. Actually, it's something that we already know, but anything can happen in future. So the important thing is to have a vision and then to adapt to the events, really. And I always say, I mean, we have to trust the process, right? I mean, so we can just look ahead a couple of steps and then another two and then another two and have faith that we will get there. Because we will. I mean, it's totally useless to feel overwhelmed by the events. I mean, we cannot influence them 100%.
No. Yeah. And like, I remember a few years ago, I was on holidays with my mom and we were in Portugal, and we saw this lovely picture, and it was on a canvas, and it was called the Door of Hope. So anyway, we saw it, but then we went away from this town. It was just like we were visiting this town. But then we were like, we have to get it. So we actually went back to that town like a few days later. We bought that print, very, very small little print, but I have it over my bed and I look at it all the time. It's called the Door of Hope, but the door is like all, like the front of the door is like all like decaying, like as in, you know, like everything is old and it looks like kind of rotting. But then when you look through, it's like this beautiful garden.
At the end.
So it's called the Door of Hope. So it's like sometimes you're seeing the current situation as not what you want, or, you know, it's, you know, not in a good shape, but like keeping your vision on what's coming through and what's possible in the vision is really, it's really like a skill almost to master, that you're able to kind of not just get caught up in the here and now, but actually be able to see like long term and to be able to hold that hope, because that is such a powerful force that we have within ourselves.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, it's what keeps up our motivation, hope, and dreams and everything. I mean, if we start thinking only of the negatives, we stop living in reality.
Completely. We shut ourselves down and we box ourselves in and just give our energy to the limitations as opposed to what could be possible.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's my guiding force, and I hope to, you know, imbue that into like my own practice, but also like for my work that I want to have as a legacy of like what I want to leave behind when I eventually leave here. You know, it's like this is what I want to leave, the message to the world that helps people to, you know, because coming into life, where the challenges are just part of the journey. So it's not about trying to get rid of the challenges and trying to make everything perfect. But it's being able to navigate them and to actually enjoy the journey.
Exactly. Because even negatives, of course, we will always have positive and negatives, but the negatives can be turned or in positive, or we can see the positive side. Of course, we will feel at times like there's no tomorrow, but then we need to have exactly the force and the energy and the magic, and be able to take this inner magic out and start all over again. And the good thing is we are all in the same boat in this. I mean, there isn't anyone in the world that has only positive days and only life. That is only a story that someone
a story, and it's not real. Because it's like the challenges are often our greatest teachers, and that's what I always get myself to think. It's like, okay, what is the lesson here that I'm learning? You know, and it's like, and then when you see it like that, it's not like then you're not seeing that life is happening against you, that you're seeing that life is happening for you, that it's all there for your growth and your evolution. And that's what we've come in here, like we incarnate to learn and to grow and develop. And when we embrace that, it just makes it so much easier than resisting the challenges and kind of, you know, saying, oh, I wish it would all disappear, or, you know, kind of, you know, making yourself feel like you're not able for it.
Yeah, exactly. We have to navigate through and see what happens, and actually see everything like a big adventure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see, like myself and Richie taking off next year, it's like, that's the biggest adventure that we could possibly ever imagine to do.
Yeah,
and
when
I
can't wait. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, and we'll have our 2 dogs as well, Happy and Sophia, you know, going with us. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah,
but it is an adventure. So it's like, when you see it like that, you kind of, it's like this sense of like what you're saying, the inner magic, the childlike wonder within you that's like, oh, what's going to be, I don't even know what it's going to be. And that's even amazing, even more incredible and amazing, because that's where the magic is, when you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, we can have exactly the opposite behavior and say, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. And what about if you say, oh, come on. I mean, you already destroyed even the beginning of the adventure. I mean, the curiosity and the enthusiasm.
Yeah. But I must say, like, you know, and I'm not like, oh, I feel like this all the time, you know, especially in the early days when myself and Richie met together, and I was thinking, how is this going to work? And how, you know, because it's just like, it felt like overwhelming at the beginning, you know, because there was so many things. So it was just, and Richie's a really good teacher for me, you know, he's always like, just enjoy where you're at. Just enjoy where you're at, instead of trying to rush ahead and be 20 million steps ahead, and like, you know, and compare yourself to other people out there and say, oh, they're so much more ahead in their business, or... Yeah,
because it's exactly what it happens. The second you want to, from where you are, you want to jump to your vision, it's not possible, and you don't want to walk to your vision, you start comparing yourself. Because there will be, of course, there will be someone ahead of you. I mean, it's life. It's not
always. Yeah. So I think that's a huge one, just to point that out to people who are listening, that it's like, just like being where you are and trusting where you are and embracing where you are, and kind of just like, just seeing like, this is the time to lay those foundations, or to take those steps, or to learn those skills, and to do so in a way that is not resisting where you are, but actually just embracing where you are, and just building from exactly where you are.
And influence what you can influence, not everything, because you are not I mean, you cannot do everything. You are not a god that can decide. Yeah. So, Aisling, thanks a lot for this little chat. I want to invite everyone to check in the post below or in my bio all the contacts and the details of Aisling. And well, I just want to say thank you, and see you next week. Bye.
Thanks so much, Sarah.
Bye.
Bye.